When I was 16, my friend came up to me and asked me if I was attending this event called Speech Follies. I asked her, what was Speech Follies? She told me that it was a showcase of the best members of our high school speech and debate team. I was hesitant to go, but decided to attend. And then that night, I was blown away. The creativity, the humor, the wit, the intelligence, the drama, the theatrics, everything that night touched my confused, angst-ridden, melodramatic teenage heart. And I sort of had this Dead Poets Society moment where I realized that I wanted to do that. I wanted to perform. I wanted to make people laugh. I wanted to make people cry. I wanted to proclaim a message through art so that everyone could hear it. So I mustered up the courage and joined the team. I attended my first competition, and I lost. My second, I lost again. My third, I lost again. And so by the fourth, you get the picture. Well, it wasn't fun. And halfway through my first year on the team, I had this conflict going on with me. I had something that I really enjoyed, but I wasn't good at it. And time again, I was embarrassing myself in front of people I didn't know. So what was I to do? We all have these moments, right? Where we find something that enlivens us and we'll work so hard at it, but then realize the road isn't easy. Many of us choose to give up, thinking that, that moment, it was just a childish thing. But there was something in that moment, in that specific time and place, that profoundly moved us. It's a human tendency. We can be so easily touched, but we cannot follow through. In Mark, we see an example of such a moment. Peter, James, and John go up to the mountain with Jesus, and there they get a beatific vision. Jesus' clothes become dazzling white. Elijah and Moses appear, and then a loud voice proclaims, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him." The moment was so spectacular that they were all so terrified. Although this moment was so profound, we know that James, John, and Peter all abandoned Jesus when times got tough. Even more so, his disciples, with all the miracles that Jesus performed, abandoned him at Jerusalem. Again, this is our human tendency, to be touched by something and then push it aside because we are scared. We are scared of what it demands of us. And what does it demand of us? It demands us to be vulnerable. When we experience something authentic and loving, it is difficult to stand by it because we are vulnerable. It is a love that can be ridiculed, a love that can be tested, a love that can make us change everything about ourselves. However, this is what we are called to do. We are called to be ridiculed, we are called to be tested, and we are called to change everything in our lives. We are called to stand up and persevere because we have to honor that moment we had. In Hebrews, faith is realizing what's true and persevering. This is well illustrated by the ancients, Abel, Enoch, and Noah, who have all attested or who have proven their faith to God by enduring their trials and hardships and remaining faithful. So in our vocation, whether we're lay or religious, how do we persevere like that? It is by faith. Faith in the moment that we had. Faith in the authentic moment that moved us, that touched us, that was so profound, we cannot shake it off. Many times, as a friar, we can look at ourselves and think the question, what am I doing here? We're a bunch of single, celibate men running around the city talking about Jesus with our cheap phones, our cars that break down all the time, our pointy hoods, and we're all doing this while wearing a brown dress. What are we doing? We must remember, it's because we fell in love with God. Everything can look and feel like a mess, but it's a mess that we love because we felt called by God and responded. So we have to remember that. But why then, when we look at things that are bad and we want to give up, we shouldn't? We have to do whatever we can to remember that life-changing moment. Sometimes it involves putting something in your room that reminds you of that moment. Sometimes it involves calling a friend. Sometimes it involves talking to your spiritual director. Anything you can do to remember that moment that changed your life. Sometimes some people get a tattoo on their left arm. You never know. We have to remember that authentic moment so we can persevere like the ancients and proclaim, as the psalm does, "I will praise your name forever, Lord." So how did my time in the speech and debate team end? Well, I didn't give up. I persevered and I started winning. I started winning so much, I broke varsity at the end of my first year. I qualified for the state championship competition, and my team members gave me an award for the most improved team member. To top it all off, I was asked to perform at Speech Follies. So when I took that stage, I performed until my confused, angst-ridden, melodramatic teenage heart was content, because a year ago, something moved me, and I wanted to honor that.